Hello and welcome to Module 7. This module is all about tap dance, which could be an entire course of itself. Similar to almost every unit we have experienced together, each of these units really could be its entire semester course. So these are just little tidbits in to each area. So tap dance lives at the intersection of sound, movement, labor, and entertainment. It is both an embodied archive of African diasporic rhythmic practices and a highly commercialized form shaped by vaudeville, minstrelsy, Broadway, Hollywood, contemporary media platforms. This unit situates tap not only as a technique, but as a cultural practice that reflects racial politics, economic structures, and shifting definitions of visibility and authorship in American popular culture. By the end of this module, you should be able to identify key African diasporic rhythmic and improvisational elements in tap dance, recognizing tap as both movement and music. Explain how tap dance has circulated within American popular entertainment with attention to race, labor, and visibility. And use one course concept to analyze a tap performance or artist, connecting tap dance to broader discussions of popular culture. Tap emerges from African diasporic rhythmic practices, particularly in context of enslavement, where drums were often banned. Rhythm moved into the body through clapping, patting juba, and percussive footwork. Tap is not simply dance. It is music made through the body. The dancer becomes both the musician and the mover, and this dual role complicates Western distinctions between dance music and preserving African diasporic aesthetic values such as improvisation, rhythmic layering, and communal exchange. Some key concepts of tap should sound familiar, including polyrhythm, call and response, and improvisation as collective knowledge. Two new working definitions I want to introduce to you are syncopation and percussive embodiment. So syncopation in tap dance is the intentional placement of rhythmic accents on unexpected beats or subdivisions, often between or against the primary pulse to create tension, groove, and dynamic musical conversation between the dance and the music. Syncopation creates rhythmic surprise and complexity that activates the space between the counts and deepens the dialogue with live or recorded music. Percussive embodiment refers to the integration of physical movement and rhythmic sound production, in which the body generates audible percussion and becomes a site of musical expression rather than merely a visual form. There are so many major tap influencers. The list I share is nowhere near complete, only a brief glance into the architects of modern rhythm tap. We'll start with Bill Robinson, who elevated tap into mainstream theatrical spaces in the early 20th century, known for his upright position, clean footwork, and staircase dance. He helped establish the tap soloist as a headlining performer. Next, we have John Bubbles, who introduced a lower to center of gravity and complex syncopation rhythms influenced by swing music. He shifted tap towards a deeper jazz-based rhythmic sophistication. Savion Glover expanded tap into dense polyrhythmic improvisations, emphasizing hitting rhythms with grounded physicality. He reasserted tap as a serious Black musical expression in contemporary performance. Diane Walker, master tap artist and cultural historian known for preserving and transmitting rhythm tap lineage. She has played a critical role in sustaining tap's jazz-based improvisational tradition. Baby Lawrence, often called the Charlie Parker of tap, he brought bebop speed and improvisational complexity into rhythm tap. His style emphasized musical phrasing and virtuosic rhythmic layering. Jimmy Slide is known for his smooth sliding style and deep swing feel. He embodied relaxed yet intricate jazz phrasing. He bridged the mid-century traditional tap traditions with layer revival movements. Harold Cromer, a master of rhythm tap precision and clarity, he maintained jazz-based improvisational traditions during periods when tap was less commercially visible. Next, we have Charlie Atkins, a tap dancer turned choreographer who brought rhythmic footwork sensibility into Motown staging. He helped translate tap's rhythmic precision into popular music performance. Jenny Lagon, one of the first Black women tap soloists featured in Hollywood films, she navigated racial barriers while maintaining technical excellence and performance charisma. And Gregory Hines, a central figure in tap's late 20th century revival, blending jazz improvisation and technical storytelling, he reintroduced tap into mainstream audiences while also centering Black musical roots. Last, we have Honey Coles, who is celebrated for his elegance, speed, and precision, and a founding member of the Copacetic Club, dedicated to preserving classical tap tradition. Tap circulated through minstrel shows and vaudeville, where Black dancers were both exploited and innovating within constraints. White performers often appropriated Black rhythmic forms while receiving greater commercial visibility. Minstrelsy as technology of appropriation is where minstrelsy functioned as a system that extracted Black cultural practices and repackaged them for white audiences through caricature and distortion, allowing white performers and producers to profit while erasing Black authorship and agency. Now we have vaudeville circuits, very similar to our national booking system we know today. The vaudeville circuit created repeatable touring routes that helped commercialize popular performance forms, and this shaped which acts traveled, how long they worked, and how entertainment was standardized nationally. Labor and touring economies is very similar to our practices today. Labor and touring economies refer to the systems of payment, contracts, travel, and working conditions that structured performers' livelihoods, often involving unstable income, long travel schedules, and racial inequities in booking and compensation. Segregated performance spaces refers to theaters, circuits, venues organized by race, where Black and white performers and audiences were often separated, reinforcing social hierarchies through entertainment infrastructures. And last, visibility versus authorship. While visibility refers to who is seen performing, while authorship refers to who creates, innovates, and receives credit. In American performance history, Black artists were often highly visible as entertainers, but were denied recognition as originators or intellectual contributors. Tap dancers functioned as the labored in entertainment economics, touring circuits, film studios, Broadway contracts, often with little ownership over choreography or credit. As touring circuits and vaudeville stages began to decline, a new entertainment infrastructure emerged: Hollywood. Film did not replace live performance, but transformed how tap circulated, who profited from it, and how audiences encountered it. What had once been geographically bound to stages and segregated circuits now moved through cameras, editing rooms, and distribution networks. A great example is Stormy Weathers from 1943, one of the most important all-Black cast musicals of the studio era. Stormy Weathers showcased extraordinary Black talent, including the Nicholas brothers, yet its production within segregated Hollywood reflected the paradox of visibility without full structural power. Black artists were central to the spectacle but excluded from industry control. Now we need to talk about the Nicholas brothers. Bayard and Harold Nicholas brought extraordinary athleticism and rhythmic precision to Hollywood, most famously in Stormy Weathers. While their virtuosity gained international visibility, they were often confined to standalone performance numbers and could be cut for segregated Southern screenings, illustrating how Black excellence was commodified yet structurally marginalized. I could probably spend an entire hour talking about the Nicholas brothers, so I encourage you to deep dive. They have some really fantastic excerpts on YouTube. Next, we have Fred Astaire. Astaire helped codify tap within Broadway musical as elegant, smooth, and narrative-driven. His films integrated tap into romance and storytelling, but his refinement also often detached tap from its Black vernacular roots while circulating it globally as mainstream American entertainment. Eleanor Powell was one of MGM's most technical, formidable tap dancers, known for speed, stamina, and precision. In Hollywood circulation, she represented tap as a spectacle, reinforcing the musical film as a site where tap became polished, commercialized, and studio controlled. Next, we have Lena Horne, often cast in musical numbers that could be cut for Southern distribution. Her film roles exposed how Black visibility in Hollywood was deliberately structured for segregation-era economics. Next, we have Cab Calloway, who bridged jazz performance and film, reinforcing Tap's deep relationship to Black musical traditions within studio productions. Gene Kelly, who reframed Tap within athletic masculine modernism and integrated into cinematic storytelling, furthering shifting Tap towards the white studio-centered authorship. Shirley Temple, her on-screen debut with Bill Robinson reveals both cross-racial spectacle and the constraint of racial hierarchy in 1930s Hollywood. Ginger Rogers, partnered with Fred Astaire, she helped cement Tap with romantic narrative cinema and studio glamour aesthetics. And Ann Miller, known for a rapid-fire tap technique, she represents Tap as a high-speed with MGM's spectacle culture. So if Hollywood amplified Tap through the studio system, in the late 20th and early 21st century reshaped how Tap circulated once again, revival media from Broadway stages to televised specials to digital platforms reintroduced Tap to new audiences while raising renewed questions about lineage, authorship, and cultural ownership. In Tap, cultural memory lives in oral transmission, jam sessions, festivals, archival footage, and mentorship. Because Tap was historically excluded from institutional archives, much of its lineage survived through embodied practices, dancers teaching dancers. Culturally, memory in Tap is not just about remembering steps, it's about preserving rhythm, groove, values, and historical consciousness. From 1970 to 1990s, revival movements were described as a period when a form believed to be declining in intentionality and is intentionally recentered, preserved, and reintroduced to new audiences. In Tap, the 1970s to 1990s revival included the Copacetic Club preserving rhythmic tap, jazz festivals and tap conferences, Gregory Hines reintroducing Tap to Broadway and film, Savion Glover's rise in Bringin' da Noise, Bringin' da Funk in 1996. The revival moment was a reclamation of culture. Artists actively restored Tap's Black jazz roots while adapting it to concert, stage, and new audiences. Broadway commodification refers to the process of packaging Tap within commercial theater structures to generate profit and mass appeal. On Broadway, Tap became structured into choreography and choreographed ensemble numbers. It was marketed as a spectacle, incorporated into narrative storytelling, and subject to ticket sales and investor demands. Broadway provided visibility and financial viability, but it also required Tap to function within commercial expectations. Media circulation described how tap dance traveled through technological platforms for films, studio broadcasts, television, to digital and social media, each expanding reach but altering contexts. While media circulation increased accessibility, it also encouraged short-form consumption, changes audience attention spans, and creates new gatekeepers, algorithms instead of studios. Tap now circulates without needing Broadway or Hollywood, but reminder that virality does not equal lineage knowledge. Tap dance now circulates through concert dance, Broadway, commercial auditions, Instagram, TikTok, competitive dance circuits. Tap's movement through the 20th and 21st century is not a simple story of decline and comeback. It's a story about infrastructure. As performance economies shifted from touring circuits to Hollywood studios to Broadway stages and digital platforms, Tap adapted to new systems of distribution, labor, and visibility. Each shift changed not just for those who saw Tap, but how it was framed, who controlled it, and who profited from it. Revival moments did not bring Tap back. They reorganized its cultural memory, reconnecting contemporary practices to jazz lineage and Black authorship. Broadway and media platforms expanded audience reach while embedding Tap within commercial logic and repeatability, spectacle, and marketability. Meanwhile, contemporary artists continue to navigate the tensions between honoring lineage and pushing rhythmic innovation. Tap's history in pop culture, then, is less about survival and more about negotiation. Between memory and market, visibility and control, preservation, and experimentation. TAP makes visible how American popular dance is never just entertainment. It carries rhythm, resistance, innovation, exploitation, and joy all at once. So that is everything for this module. Be sure to complete the assigned materials and submit your discussion posts, and I will see you next week.